All right, we have breaking news coming in. US President Donald Trump is now headed for Egypt for the all-important Gaza Peace Summit. Several world leaders, including UK Prime Minister Keir Starmer and French President Emmanuel Macron, already in Sharm El-Sheikh. The summit is being co-chaired by US President Donald Trump and Egypt's Abdel Fattah al-Sisi. It will see more than 20 leaders gather to mark the Gaza ceasefire and the return of Israeli hostages in exchange for Palestinian detainees. Palestinian President Mahmoud Abbas is also attending the summit in Egypt. Trump's plan for ending the war in Gaza, it's said that has left open the possibility for Abbas's Palestinian Authority, which is a rival to Hamas. Abbas also represents Palestinians at international organizations. Among the other notable attendees are Turkey President Recep Tayyip Erdogan, Saudi Arabia's Foreign Minister Faisal bin Farhan Al Saud. So there are going to be about heads from 20 other countries who will be present at this all-important peace summit as well. For more on this, we're now being joined live by correspondent Susan Teherani, joining us live from New York. Susan, thank you so much for joining us. Of course, all eyes are going to be on what are the major things on the agenda at this peace summit. We've seen the release of all hostages. They've come back to Israel. We've seen the release of prisoners. However, there are still issues that are left that need answers and more clarity. Susan, what can we expect?
Right, really a landmark moment, not only with the release of hostages, which until recently many really thought that Hamas would not release them because they thought that this was Hamas's only playing card, basically. But we see that those hostages that are living have returned home to the arms of their loved ones. And then this Sharm El-Sheikh summit, which is really can't be undermined and underestimated. Leaders from all over the world gathering, including representatives from India and European countries as well, beyond the Middle East, hoping that this will be a momentous moment to move forward. They're going to be not only talking about reconstruction efforts, but they're going to be talking about trade. They're going to be talking about the path forward. But the symbolism of it all really demonstrates that the world is exhausted about the war in the Middle East and even the wars that are going on. And they're willing to lend a helping hand and be part of the conversation to prevent another October 7th from happening. So it is very significant that these leaders and these representatives from different countries are attending, but nonetheless, everyone is sober-eyed. They're cautiously optimistic. While today is a day of hope and celebration, the road ahead is going to be bumpy. And the first phase, many believe, may have been the easiest. And now moving forward really gets to the hard part, notably, reconstruction and recovery and, how these hostages who have been in captivity for so long are going to integrate back into regular life, their mental health, and just moving forward.
Right, Susan, of course, let's also just talk about the fact what you mentioned as well. Now, the tough part is yet to come. And we've been talking to experts all day today as well. And that's what everyone has been saying as well, that what is to come, that's perhaps going to be a more difficult negotiation. We are looking at certain issues here, at least, which weren't mentioned in the 20-point peace plan, the biggest being the question of statehood. Then, of course, there's the question of insurability, the question of legitimacy, whether or not Hamas will disarm. And that being said, how do you see things panning out? Because we are going to see those discussions take place in Egypt in a short while from now. Whether or not all heads of states can come together and find a solution to this, that's something that remains to be seen.
The difference between now and before, and it's completely valid to be skeptical and cautiously optimistic, but the difference between now and before is there seems to be a will and there seems to be momentum. Until now, Hamas was not willing to release these hostages because it was the only, bargaining chip, for lack of a better term, that they had. The fact that Hamas has been willing to do that and the cessation of violence on the part of the Israelis as well, at least for the last few days, and also, again, Arab leaders coming together and also European leaders and from South Asian countries as well, the momentum is what many are deeming as being optimistic, because it seems that there is a will from the international community on short notice to gather and try to find a resolution not only to the suffering of the Palestinians, but the safety of Israel as well. And again, it's not just Hamas and the Palestinian Authority that are present in these discussions, and they will be in these. Arab leaders across the region, with the exception of the Abraham Accords, by some Arab countries, they just were not willing to come to the table and negotiate for a lasting peace with the Israelis the way that they have right now. So yeah, absolutely, there are going to be bumps in the road. Absolutely, all of this could break down and fighting could erupt any day. But at least for this moment in time, it appears that there is a glimmer of hope that hadn't been in years, if not decades.
Right, well, Susan, thank you so much for getting us the latest on this. Of course, we'll track that meeting closely. For latest news, download the WION app and subscribe to our YouTube channel.